Hi guys, welcome to Best Bits Part 1, a two-part compilation series where we look at the best moments on the show so far. A big thank you to all the guests that have come on, your countless wisdom, your brilliant and honest stories, and your advice for life on and off the pitch have been truly inspiring, and it's been a great pleasure to be a part of those conversations with you guys. Also, a big thank you to everyone who's been watching, whether it's from episode 1 or today's your first video. Your support means a lot, and I hope you enjoy this little series. Let me introduce Ali, a rising star through Swansea's ranks. He is performing brilliantly at the moment, coming back from injury and bagging goals, not to mention how much he's doing off the pitch to give. He is making Sky Sports appearances. He has his 731 Club and a viral video on mental health and the importance of it were all truly incredible things to witness him doing. He spoke brilliantly on the podcast. We talked all things meditation, the power of awareness and presence and perspective. And even in this little segment, we look at how calmness and ambition are not polar opposites and that they can be combined to create this unstoppable force of I am always going to perform at my best because I can be calm, focused, and in that moment to do that. And he spoke passionately, but also really calmly, and a brilliant watch.
This has recently been my struggle, because I have like these times when I'm like deep in thoughts and I'm thinking how can I like have goals and like be wanting to achieve goals, but at the same time, obviously not attach happiness to them because obviously reaching them goals will make me happy. And again, like you said, you can't chase happiness, but I think you can create the best environment for happiness to arise. So again, through your daily disciplines, through your habits, through your relationships, through your actions, through your awareness, through everything, through the food you eat, you can cultivate like an environment where a lot more happiness can arise. Because again, if you're going the other way and you're not sleeping, you're staying up all night and crap, you're not exercising, you're having bad relations with people, that's obviously an environment where a lot more sadness and happiness is going to arise. So you kind of can control in a way the environment that you're in, which then obviously a lot more happiness or a lot more positivity in your environment can arise. For me, I don't think my goals have changed. I'm still if anything, being like this has made me the most ambitious I've ever been. Like my goal is still to play in the Premier League, still to play for my national team, still to be like one of the best players like in the Premier League. I know that might sound crazy to some people, but again, I've reached a point where to me it's not crazy because I know the way I think and the awareness I have that anything is possible. So as long as but again, it's not then attaching, it's not then putting pressure on it. It's kind of as long as you're doing the best, the absolute best you can every single day till that point, then you've got nothing to worry about. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. You know you tried your best, and it's kind of that thing. If you aim for the stars, like you land on the moon. Like maybe I won't, maybe I will, but maybe I won't. But maybe I will settle for something good as well. Like that will make me happy. But yeah, I'm still very ambitious. Like I'm a very driven person. Like me being like this, I think a lot of people get that mistake, and that people who are aware, people who are a lot more calm and like peaceful about their lives, that means they're not ambitious and they haven't got like that killer instinct and like, but they don't realize that like underneath all that, it's like a beast that's waiting to like pounce on people, and in the most like calm and peaceful way possible. It's like you're slowly every day you're just taking away and doing the things that's right, while these people are like kind of doing it from a social point of view to like look good to people. And that's not to say that you can't obviously broadcast your life and stuff. I'm like a big believer that you do what you want to do. If you think you working hard and you put it on your Instagram and social media all day every day, if that's what you enjoy, do it. But I'm saying at the end of the day, only you know deep down whether you're really like working hard and whether you're doing what you can do. So yeah, I'm still a very ambitious person, and I know like being an ambitious person and putting it out there gets a lot of hate from people, and like people be listening to like something and me saying being a Premier League player, like, oh, he's not good enough, he's never going to be a Premier League player or whatever. But they don't know that like the self-belief that I have will never ever cripple like on the people's opinions of me.
Great Tanner, what a guy. It was a true brilliant conversation in stepping back, relaxing and enjoying football, relaxing and enjoying life. He looked at his coping mechanisms, such as going walking without your phone, spending time with your inner circle, and even cooking to be present in other activities. He had a real kind of wise, slowed down approach to the fast paced world. And in that, you can find a lot more joy. You can really go out and just enjoy the simple things to life. And if the simple things and the most basic things can make you happy, then life becomes a lot easier and a lot less, there are a lot less battles with this self-created stress that we all create within ourselves. And he was a prime example he's not going to let that dictate his life.
Yeah, for sure. Like I always, like me, the missus will go walk the dog and leave your phones at home and go walk for an hour, or just even sometimes I put my headphones in and I walk on my own. And it's when I get some of like my best ideas. I think, oh look, maybe I could do this, or I want to go cook this dinner, or stuff like that. It's where you find a bit more of like, you can switch off from the constants of pressure you put on yourself. And when you're sitting around feeling slobbish, you don't, like, it all just builds up. So just get out and just have a little look, and like even just like walking, but keep your head up, because you actually see what's going on in the world instead of like walking with your phone in your hand. Just like so much. I just don't like how everyone puts so much pressure on themselves, whether it's in football or gym work or stuff like that. Just there's no need to put so much pressure on everyone.
No, that is honestly incredible advice, and yeah, people like listen need to take that on board, because the power of a walk, the power of stepping back is just such a simple thing, that slowing down, but it's so overlooked because it doesn't give you the instant benefits. It doesn't give you the instant, that there's no instant change for how you're doing it necessarily, but it helps so much. Obviously you've got a knee injury at the moment, right? How was obviously going through that whole injury? How has it changed how you've taken on this one?
Yeah, just a lot more relaxed with it, really. Just like maybe because it's not as serious, and it's more of a straightforward one. It's like I know I'm going to be back playing, so it's no like where ruptured tendon. I was at times like 15 pages deep on Google trying to find this master exercise which is going to help. But, like it's just you just got to just go with the process, and like you're going to be back fit. You just take your time with it. Obviously, I want to be playing. I love playing football, but at the same time, you'd rather miss one more game than miss another 4 weeks. So definitely a lot more relaxed with it, and I think I've got better coping mechanisms in place for these sort of things. And definitely even when I'm back playing football, I'm exactly the same and so much more relaxed with the whole process.
What would you say some of your coping mechanisms are, if you haven't already mentioned them?
Just find a new, like I like cooking and stuff like that. So finding like new recipes and like going online or getting a cookbook and, actually communicating and cooking something with my girlfriend together, or whether it's going on Warzone with my friends and like, we just don't discuss football, like just actually grow as a person and have conversations. Because like what I've learned as well is that a lot of people in relationships will only talk about football, and like everything's geared towards, all right, Friday night I've got to have pasta, and then I've got to be up at this time, and I can't do this because I've got a game at 3:00. And like I said earlier, it's only a game of football. Like just totally just relax with it, and your performances will 100% get better.
Brandon Thomas Asante, also known as BTA. What a guy, what a perfect first episode, and it was a true blessing to have such a good friend on the show to start it all off. And we went deep. We went into the social, racial, political, and even philosophical issues that exist in this current climate. And we also went behind the scenes of the footballer ego, the footballer identity. We dove down into those depths of who we are and how we manage what society puts on us as through our roles and responsibilities as footballers and as athletes. And it was truly inspirational to see his self-understanding through his connection with faith and through his understanding of the journey, that his opportunities that he's probably mostly created for himself anyway, and what he's going to do with them, how he's going to get the best out of himself by being himself. And it was honestly a truly beautiful conversation.
The learning and the different perspectives and the journeys you go on in a book, and like to just like for me, would you rather be scrolling for your phone or reading a book? Like,
No.
it's a sad little thing to like our generation now.
Yeah.
That reading's just slowed down massively.
There was one time I brought a book on the bus, and I literally put it out on the table, and then even the comments that I got of just putting the book out, I was like, this is the problem. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
like it's because it was sort of out of the norm.
Yeah,
It wasn't really valued, but I think it's such a skill, and I think, yeah, I'd love to see that change. I think just having these open conversations and knowing that a lot of people have interests that we weren't aware of, like what we found out. There's probably thousands more relationships like ours who people can have with their own teammates that they've not realised or not had that first conversation with. So it's just encouraging really to sort of speak to the people around you and get a deeper understanding of them.
100%.
Take the first step. Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to kind of round it to a close. Obviously, I'll link your socials in and everything.
Yeah.
But before we finish, one question I'm going to get going throughout is, what makes you more than a footballer, more than an athlete? What makes you human? Good question, isn't it?
That is a mad one. How am I going to answer that, man? What would I say? I feel like my answer would be, and we literally ended on it, spirit for me. I feel like that's in the way that we said, no word, like words are limiting in that they don't carry the exact representation of the object or the energy or what's behind it. And I feel like a lot of books and I think a more modern way of saying spirit, people like to use energy or I don't know, vibes and all of that.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm more familiar with, the term spirit. But who I am and what my original creation was, and as I think you summed up really, would you be able to do that actually about being in a room and that the walls? You did that.
Yeah, I think we'll have to do that at some point.
Yeah, if that would be amazing to go out. But I think just what you are at the very crux of your being, and everyone has that, and I feel like everyone's is different as well. And just my knowledge of that, I mean, I'm still yet to seek even more into my own spirit. That, but I feel like that's what differentiates me from anyone else, and that's basically all that I can bring to the table.
Exactly.
Football, my conversations, my expression, it all comes from my spirit. So I feel like that's really what I am.
Matteo Esposito, what a relentless hard worker. No matter what you throw at this guy, whether it's being out of professional clubs during COVID and doing it all on your own, whether it's injuries, whether it's just general difficult situations, this guy is always going to find the strength to bounce back. In our podcast, we talk about where he finds that strength to bounce back, whether it be his relationship through God and how important that is to him and how much that gives him in those difficult moments to keep doing it and to keep going. And his awareness of the journey, of how much he's going to go after and how much he's going to learn in this whole process of going after that dream. And for someone that knows what they want to do and is doing everything they can to go out and do that, it's a truly inspirational story of never giving up and always finding a way to go out and do what you want.
Sorry. Another thing on that as well, you kind of said it, being more and not doing more. We're human beings, not human doings. And when someone said that to me, I was like, wow. We say that word. How many times have we said that from the minute we was born? Human being, but we don't do it. We constantly think about what are we actually doing rather than what are we being and what are we embodying. And someone gave me a great piece of advice. No moment will ever be enough. And this just relates back to you saying, you're never going to kind of be content unless you're content in yourself, because no moment will ever be enough. Whether that's winning the Champions League, of course you remember it and you think, wow, what a moment. But, once you're in the changing rooms, you're celebrating, you're buzzing, the moment's done.
You already gone downhill.
Can you reminisce over that moment? Of course you can. you see ex-footballers speak about all the time, best moment of your career, winning the Champions League, what a moment that was, or winning the World Cup. But I feel like life, and again, for me, if you was to ask me this question a year ago, wouldn't be the same answer as I give you now. But life is more about what you give and not what you receive. You know, it's about the person you grow to be. And for me, like the prime example, and I'm sure we're absolutely nowhere near it at the moment, but when you see footballers have kids, you know, people ask them, what's the best moment of your life? And it's always like, like having my first kid, or, you know, it's always like, it's never really about football. And then, you know, whoever's presenting has to kind of change the answer. Oh, but what about within football?
Yeah.
And I think that in itself is like living proof that there is more to life. And again, you know, giving, for example, you know, having a child, for example, you know, you're giving life. And again, it's about what you're giving, not what you're receiving. All the trophies, you know, all the status, you know, all the fame, all the recognition, you know, it can only take you so far. And I feel like once you come to terms with that, you know, all of a sudden you're opening up a part of your brain and a part of your mind that you never even knew you had. And for me, I'm not saying I'm there now, because I'm not, but being on that journey and starting to realize that is such a beautiful process, and one that I'm enjoying so much, and I'm sure you're the same as well.
Charlie Wakefield. Wow. There's not much for me to say to describe this one. You just have to go and listen, because his story through his injuries, from his times at Chelsea and Coventry, it's an unbelievable story. What he's been through mentally and physically in the battles is unbelievable. And this little snippet that you'll see in the full podcast doesn't do any justice to what he's gone through as a person. And to then have the perspective where he wants to give to others that are going through the same, you know, difficulties and injuries and the same mental health battles, that's inspiring. And the compassion and giving in that is unbelievable, and it shows so much as to who the person he's become because of his struggles.
Into training. So where I used to live was 45 minutes from the training ground. I was on my first day to training, and I remember driving, and I started feeling pain in my chest. So I'm thinking, I've not felt this before. What is this? And obviously, the further I'm going in the journey, the worse the pain's getting. It's building up. And I'm starting to struggle to breathe. So I'm thinking, what is going on? Like, I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know whether to, you know, I'm just thinking almost the worst at the time. And obviously I get onto the motorway and it's getting really bad. And I'm thinking, like, I need to call an ambulance. And I was thinking, well, if I call an ambulance, I've got to pull over on the M25. I don't know where I am on the M25. The M25 is a long motorway.
Yeah, it's not a fun one either.
Not a fun one. So I thought, fuck it, I've just got to get to training. So I remember speeding to training. Obviously, it's getting worse and worse. I get near Cobham, the windy roads. I start feeling really dizzy, sick. Was all over the gaff. Managed to get to training though, and I didn't park in the spot. I drove as close to the front door, academy building door, as I could. And I remember getting out of the car, like where I had so much pain. I was like, crouched, walking into the academy building, and luckily enough, like the academy building, as you walk in on the right is the physio room. So straight away the physio room. And I've walked in, and lucky enough there was one guy there called Sam, one of the physios, and I've just like collapsed on the bed, and I just remember saying to him, like, I can't breathe, like, you know. And he was like, what's going on? Next thing you know, I'm in like the private physio room with about 8 physios on this bed, oxygen, injections, all sorts. And Sam, who saw me, he was the first person to saw me. He called what it was. It was a collapsed lung, like a pneumothorax. So he was like, right, we're going to have to rush you to hospital. So they rushed me to the nearest hospital, in and out, got an ambulance, got rushed to hospital, and then had to get an inject. Like what they had to do is they had to inject into my chest and then suck all the blocked air out of my lungs. So I had all that. It was crazy because I had it, and then almost like 30 minutes after they'd done that, I felt all right again because it's all been.
Yeah.
So then I had to stay overnight in one of the main hospitals in London, and then I was bedside for 2 months. So I had 2 months just.
Mad.
I just had all my hamstring, and then this is like come on top. Obviously, I'm just like, wow. But what I done was I looked at it in a way of like, this is a blessing in disguise, because what's actually happened is I've had a collapsed lung, which obviously no one wants, but it's going to allow my hamstring time to where I'm not going in and a physio telling me, oh, do some bridges or do some hamstring strength, this. Like, it's just going to let nature do its thing, which is a blessing in disguise, because ever since I've never had hamstring injury on that specific tendon area. So yeah, I mean, at that point, I've been through all. I've had all them hamstring injuries and the collapsed lung, and that's probably the point where you're going, wow, I've missed so much football. It was a crazy time, crazy period that was.
What a journey! That's blown me away. Wow, that's crazy. So I mean, you've got to kind of say, as cliche as it is, that all of that, the strength mentally to have kept going. Like, literally, how do you keep getting up every day, trying to get back into rehab, trying to go through everything? Like, that must have been incredibly hard.
I don't know. I honestly feel like I was just lucky and born to naturally have that mindset. It's almost hard to teach that mindset. But then again, going through everything I'd done only made me stronger, easy to say, but it's true.
Yeah.
Going through that made my mindset just bulletproof. And now I look at life and nothing can faze me as far as I'm, I've been through it all in terms of my job as a footballer, what I've been through. And I've got so much held in almost to get off my chest, but that's why I want to help others, because I've got so much to help. I've got so much to advice I feel I can give on these players, because I'm still on my journey, and it's like, it's easier said than done. It's easy for me to get back to the top, playing in the Premier League, the Championship, whatever, and then saying, oh, this is my story, I'm now back here and I went through this. Like, it's easy to, obviously it's not easy to do that, but it's easy to tell the story when you've done it. But I'm almost doing it now because I'm on that journey still. So I'm currently at Bromley, and I love it at Bromley. It's a great club, and I'm enjoying my football again, and I'm playing in the National League, and really and just enjoying playing football, which I haven't been able to do in a while. But I just feel like with what I've been through, I want boys that are similar to age to me, younger than me, older than me, to almost be on this journey with me now. I'm on mine and they're on theirs, and we can help each other instead of me achieving what I want. Because the time it takes to do that, people are going to be committing suicide. They're going to be they need the help now, in my opinion.
Matteo Vellotto, what an open guy who doesn't let the label of a footballer define him in any way. From the politics and the injuries that have affected his life and his career, his openness still remains the same. He's still going to keep trying to learn new languages, learn new knowledge, and put himself out there, like taking a business degree, making his way into real estate at such a young age. This guy just wants to go out and enjoy life as much as possible, whether that's on the pitch or off the pitch. It doesn't matter.
I think like footballers, some of footballers are like so intelligent. There's so much they can do besides of football or after football, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I don't want to be that kind of guy that only plays football, makes a bit of money, and then just piss it all away.
Exactly. And it's like, it's 15 years of your life. Like, life goes by quickly. Like, that's 15 years that if I just spend my time focusing on football when I can be doing more, then, like, I've wasted half of my days for 15 years, which is so many hours where I could have been finding new loves and finding energy from different places. And like we said before, is that energy actually helps you on the pitch. And
100%. But then it depends who you are and what you like and what you prefer. But to a certain degree, I definitely think that it's something everyone should do. And
yeah, I think quality over quantity. And it's like, and I think it's also amazing to see that you're breaking the mold of like, I'm a footballer, that's all I do. And it's like that box that we're put in, we're expected to just live in that box for the rest of our lives, or at least until we retire.
And for me, for instance, I've been like blessed with being able to speak different languages. So for me, it would be like just so stupid to not use it. Yeah. If it's in football, then great. And if it's not, then it's great as well. Exactly. So you have to use your talents in every way you can. There's a lot of footballers nowadays that make football almost more money like away from football than on the pitch. Yeah. It can be in whatever. It can be in construction, it can be in real estate, it can be in modeling, it can be in traveling, being an influencer, whatever. So it's so much you can do, and I think like for me it's been great to open my horizons, honestly.
Kenji Gori, the energy, the passion, the love for life. What a guy. And literally just talking about him, I am embodying that energy so much. He talks all things faith, love, and self-belief. And not to mention how much he gives to the community in his On The Ball squad for footballers and the platform of his Instagram and how much he uses that for good. It's incredible to see. And our conversation was full of wisdom, full of different ideas, and full of high energy. It's an amazing story that he's been through. It's amazing to see who he's become because of that. And just by being around him, even for this 2 to 3 minutes, you'll know why he is so infectious. And every minute you're around him, you're gonna learn. You're gonna feel those positive vibes and want to go out and do something incredible yourself. That's the kind of guy he is.
Be the person that's gonna attract the person that's gonna be that. And also, it's so important who you surround yourself with. It's so important who you surround yourself with. The quickest way to assess yourself is just look at the 5 people closest to you. Look at the 5 people closest to you, and that's you. And like that, when I first heard that quote, I was like, oh my days, that's actually me. I was like, right, that's actually me. So I know that there's someone listening to this that's feeling like, oh my days, this is actually me. And this is how you assess yourself. And that's how you have to see yourself. And then you can kind of see, right, who can I be around more? Where can I spend my time? Time is the most valuable thing that you can have. And that right now is seen in the life that we live today, through COVID, through everything that's going on in the world. Like, time is unbelievable, to spend time with your family, to spend time with your loved ones, to spend time with everything, because, life can be taken away from you tomorrow. But what have you done to get to yourself to, I'm going a bit off topic here, but it is definitely, to answer your question, it's definitely linked to what I have gone through for sure in my life and what I've seen.
I think to make that connection again, the environment is so important to cultivating the depth, the awareness, everything that you want in your life to be the person you want to be. But at the same time, you choose your environment. And I think that's what people like, oh yeah, but like, this is my environment. Like, I can't get out of this. I live with this person. I live in this building. All these different things. Like, I'm at this football club. Like, one of my biggest things is that my best friends I've created are the people I listen to on podcasts. I want David Goggins to be one of my best friends. I want the Dalai Lama to be another one of my best. They have no clue who I am. but if I'm listening to them an hour a week, that's like having one friend of mine for an hour a week. So those are my circle that I get my inspiration. That's where I learn. And so it's like, I've created that for myself. Is like, I live on my own, and obviously I go to train every day. And so obviously you don't have as much time to go and meet the people you want to meet. So I'm going to go in and create the environment that I want, sat at home in the way that I can. Obviously technology is, incredible blessing at the moment to be able to do that. But again, you create that yourself in your environment, and there is no excuses, I think, in that way to say, I'm not around the people I want to be. Because obviously, like I said, Denzel Washington, he hit home with that. And that was, it's so true. And it was like, the environment is a brilliant answer to that sensitivity. So I love that.
Wow, man. Honestly, what you just shared there is so vital. It's so key. You can literally create a friend in getting to know somebody on their podcasts.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, like, it's amazing. It honestly is amazing what you just shared. Like, everybody listening to this, like,
exactly. Or even reading their book.
Take that in.
Like, I read Nelson Mandela's Long Walk to Freedom, and I feel like that's my boy now. Like, I know his whole life, 900 pages through. Like, that's like, I've been there through him.
I feel you. I fully feel you with this, for sure, brother. Honestly, I feel you.
So, taking a little, different path now. I want to take this to another level as well. And this is something I don't think is done enough on podcasts, in terms of the trust and the openness and the authenticity. Right now in your life, obviously, you're playing football, you've obviously got your environment, family-wise, you're pursuing and progressing off the pitch with these ideas and these projects that are brilliant. What are your dreams now? And at the same time, go into afterwards, what are your weaknesses and fears at this moment in time? Like, to be open and raw when, I think, again, you could say an outsider looking in would say, oh, Kenji's got it all comfortable. Kenji's got it sorted. He's doing all these things, blah, blah, blah. Whether they knew your story or they know your day-to-day life or not, it's now, okay, what am I still going for? But at the same time, what do I still have to work on?
Wow. Honestly, I absolutely love this question. And I have many dreams. Honestly, like, I've realized that my life is not my own. After living my life, giving my life to Christ, like, I've realized that when I'm stood before God, you can say your creator, whatever you may believe. But for me, when I'm stood before God, I want to be emptied out. I want to stand before him and say, I've given all my talents. I've given everything that I've got inside of me to the world. And that's kind of how I want to live my life on a day-to-day basis. Like, what can I do now to really impact somebody's life? What can I do now? Did I live today? Like, it's these questions that I continue to ask myself, like, and that is like how I'm living my life. And that comes with a lot of fears, Mm-hmm. Is it enough? Am I doing enough? Like, that is something that I'm not struggle. I don't like the word struggle, but that's something that I'm challenged by at the moment. Mm-hmm. I'm challenged by, like, am I doing enough with the time that I've got on my hands? Mm-hmm. Like, am I managing that time? Like, am I doing that? And that is something that is ever evolving. I want to continue to grow. I want to continue to be that next level version of myself. And I know that there's so much more to come.